Welcome back to another episode of Grit on the Rocks podcast. Yes, I apologize. I know I took a small hiatus. It was only supposed to be a week, but it ended up being more like three. One of those weeks I was in Puerto Rico. And since I got back, it's just been so hectic that I haven't been able to do any content. And I apologize for that because I know I said I don't want to miss a show, but it gets rough, man. When you're doing everything by yourself, you're doing the writing, you're doing the recording, you're doing the editing, everything by yourself, plus everything else, that goes on in life. So time is, what is it? Time slipped away because to be honest, I didn't even notice that, dude, it's been 3 weeks. So get back to work. So here we are. This is Grit on the Rocks podcast, a Buenos Dias media production. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for those of you who have written to me and say, hey, what's going on with the episodes? That means you are listening, you are engaging, and hopefully you are sharing.
This podcast is a Buenos Dias media production.
This is the Grit on the Rocks podcast, where raw conversations meet smooth sips. Pull up a chair, pour your favorite drink, puff on your favorite cigar, and join us as we dive into the convos that matter. No scripts, no barriers, just unfiltered truth served straight up. Cheers to the real ones out there. Salud.
Yes. So this is Grit on the Rocks podcast, and I think it's a great time. For those of you, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube or to the podcast itself, now is a great time to do so. It is totally free. As always, if you're watching us on YouTube, drop us a comment, right? What do you think about the topic? Or share your story, whatever it is. Follow us on our socials at Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. You can find us as Grit on the Rocks. But if you want to share a story and you want to be part of the show, or you want a message, send us a message and you want that message read on the show, I invite you to go to gritontheRocks.com, scroll down to the bottom where it says contact us, and submit your story there. And you can be part of a future episode of Grit on the Rocks. So, this is Grit on the Rocks, the podcast for real people living real lives, where we sip slow, we think deep, and get honest about the journey. As usual, I am your host, David. And like I said, I am back from a much-needed trip to my home. I call it my home, even though I wasn't born there. I was raised there, the island of Puerto Rico, right? I was there for a week, taking in the sun and the heat. And even though, sadly, I wasn't able to go to the beach because of the weather and the blackout and all that stuff that happened, at least we were able to enjoy a nice pool at this Airbnb we rented. But we will talk more about that, even though that is not the topic of this episode. But yeah, I gotta play this.
The views and opinions expressed by the host, guest, and/or participants of this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Buenos Dias Media LLC, its associates, partners, and show sponsors. The content is intended for entertainment purposes and should not be construed as professional advice. Listener discretion is advised.
So what are we talking about today? We're talking about reciprocation, right? Reciprocating love, the quiet power of showing up. And why do I say this? Because it just came to mind as I was thinking about talking to you guys about my trip to Puerto Rico, which again, when I go to Puerto Rico, I don't really call it a vacation. I mean, it is a vacation because I'm leaving the norm of work and all that stuff. I try to disconnect. But when it comes to Puerto Rico, I don't call it a vacation because we don't really do touristy things. It's more about spending time with family, with our loved ones, connecting with our old neighborhood, our old people. My wife and I are from the same town, the same community. So we know most of the same people. So when we go back, we try to reconnect with people, right? We do see family, But the reason why I say try to reconnect with people is because, boy, it is hard to see most of the people that you want to see. Usually, I don't know if this is everywhere you go. I'm just gonna say my experience, right? And I'm pretty sure this is not only in my country, like PR, I'm pretty sure it's everywhere, but I can only speak for where I've lived. But yeah, sometimes you let people know, like, hey, I'm gonna be there from this date to this date. I'd like to meet, go to dinner, I don't know, go to lunch, go for coffee, whatever. Meet up, see you, reconnect, chat a bit, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes that is more of a challenge than I thought it would be, because you always get the answer of, well, let me know. Yeah, I'm letting you know now. So because of this attitude of, I don't know, like lack of effort sometimes that people put, you don't get to see them. I don't know. You take the longest trip, you buy your plane ticket, you fly across the sea, you go to this place, and most people are 5-10 minutes away. But even with that distance, you don't see the effort of, hey, come see me. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about either. But yeah, based on that is why I thought of reciprocation. So for years, my wife and I made it a point to go to Puerto Rico every year. This is during the time where my parents lived in Puerto Rico, right? We'd visit my parents, we'd spend time with them, we'd break bread, we'd hear, the same stories that we share, like if they were brand new, and we just soak up the love. My wife did that for me without a complaint, without hesitation. She showed up for me year after year, right? And as we know, life shifts. There are shifts in life that change things. So during the time my parents lived in Puerto Rico, my in-laws were in New York. So we'd see them while we were living here, and we'd go to Puerto Rico, at least once a year. And it wasn't about doing all these touristy things and stuff like that. It was more, for me, it was more about just spending time with my parents. This was the beginning stages of my mom's illness. So she, didn't really want to do much. But we do dinners and, lunches or whatever it is. And, fishing that they love doing. We'd go in and spend time with them. And my wife would go with me. And at that time, during the beginning time, she wasn't my wife yet. We were engaged. But she would do this for me. We would go, and it was, I'd just sit in the front porch and just sit and drink coffee and talk and chat and just spend time together, which was very meaningful for me. This is why when my mom passed away, I had no regrets as a son, because I know I tried to spend the most time with them as possible. With my mom, I tried to spend time with her, and then, then she came to New York. But when she came to New York, now my in-laws were in Puerto Rico. So we still go every year, but now we spend time with her parents, my in-laws. And you know what? I want to be there because it's my turn now. That's the lesson today, people. Reciprocation. Not keeping score, not one-upping, just showing up, because that's what real love does. Okay? So before we continue, let's take a quick pause to hear from one of our friends.
Looking to connect with like-minded men who share your drive for success and passion for the finer things in life? Welcome to the Apex Gentlemen's Guild, a private members club for men who value ambition, camaraderie, giving back, and personal growth. For a limited time while we're fully remote, you can join the guild for free. Gain access to tons of motivational content, exclusive events, insightful discussions, and a network of high-performance individuals. Don't miss this chance to elevate your social circle. Request to join today at facebook.com/groups/Apex Gentlemen's Guild, or give us a like at facebook.com/Apex Gentlemen's Guild. The Apex Gentlemen's Guild, excellence forged in unity.
Okay, so let's be real. We're continuing here with the topic of reciprocation, right? So let's be real and look at the fact that social media is obsessed with grand gestures. The surprise trips, the diamond rings, the viral moments. But the real glue in relationships, it's the quiet decisions, the silent sacrifices, the small yeses that say, I see what you've done for me, and I honor it by doing the same for you. See, my wife didn't owe me those trips. She chose them. And now I choose to return the favor. Not because she expects it, but because it's how it should be, right? Real partnerships, and in this case, I'm talking about my partner being my wife. It's not about 50-50. It's about 100% every damn day. You got to give it your all. You got to be in it. You got to put in the work. Sometimes you got to say no to yourself and yes to them because they have done it for you. And it's sad to see when you see relationships or friendships or even family members that don't understand the importance of reciprocation. That some people just want to take and never give. It's just how it is. You know, some people, and this, when I say people, this includes family, this includes friends, this includes sometimes your own spouse, right? In some relationships, it's a one-way street. And one person just wants to take and never give. And the other person just gives, never asks, never receives. Okay? So I want you to ask yourself this. Are you carrying or complaining? When your partner made space for your dreams, did you make space for theirs? When they supported your family, did you support theirs? When they were in the background holding it down, did you bring them to the front and say, thank you? Because if you're in a relationship where everything flows one way, that's not love. That's called extraction. And at some point, even the best people get tired of giving and never being poured into. That's just the reality of it, right? So here's a challenge, gentlemen. Reciprocate quietly, powerfully, and intentionally. And I say gentlemen, but you know, the truth is this can go both ways. There are men who give and don't receive, just like there are women who give it all and receive nothing. So I'm speaking to both. But men, if she supported your hustle, support her healing. If she embraced your people, embrace hers. If she chose you at your lowest, build her up at your highest. No hashtags, no applause needed, right? Just you doing the thing that needs to be done. Because love isn't about equal gifts. It's about equal effort. I want to say that again. Love isn't about equal gifts. It's about equal effort. Both putting in your 100%. Always. Sometimes you don't feel like you're 100%. Right? Sometimes you don't feel the same energy. Sometimes you don't feel the same motivation. But you have to discipline yourself to always give your 100. Maybe your 100 today isn't the same that it was yesterday, but you are giving your 100 always. So thank you for rocking with me today. If this episode hit home, do me a favor. Share it with someone who needs the reminder. Maybe it's your own spouse or a family member or a friend. And if you're in a relationship, don't just say you love them. Show them every day. So until next time, remember to keep your spirits high, your cigars lit, your glasses full, and your conversations meaningful. This is Grit on the Rocks, a Buenos Dias media production. I am your host, David. Till next time, cheers.
Grit on the rocks tonight, men with hearts like iron bars, tackling life's endless fight, scars becoming stars, diving deep into the void, working dreams like candy, family bonds sometimes destroyed, life ain't always handy. Real men, real issues here, facing fears like storms at sea. Truth is all we hold dear, weakness set free. Help a battle we all share, fitness built with grit and sweat. Life ain't always fair, don't you dare forget. Challenges rise like mountains tall, through the haze we crawl alone. Echoes in the empty hall, our struggles carved in stone. Voices lost in loud cruel, but we rise and scream our names. Swords of truth forever hurled in this podcast game. Health a battle we all share, fitness built with grit and sweat. Life ain't always fair, don't you dare forget. Health a battle